morning, beautiful. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to be out here. There's tui singing. And you can actually hear traffic noise in the background. New Zealand is gearing up, getting back into level 3 lockdown, which means more business and a little bit more, room to move. People are really enjoying getting takeaways again. We haven't done that yet. Anyway, let me show you the day. It's just like that. Morning, Linda. You can hear the birds. Just waiting for the tui to sing. And what have we got here? We've got these beautiful white anemones. Oh, there's a fresh one right there with the light coming through it. That's a poster shot, that is. So enjoying that. Jocelyn, good morning. It's beautiful to see you. And enjoying this foliage. This is still a ghost plant, but it's a different one. It's a bit scraggly. Grows a bit slower than the others. But it too is something I really enjoy, and I don't have to prune it as often. It grows a bit slower. But seeing as we're doing foliage today, look at this. You can see how still it is. There is no wind. None at all. And if we pan up, you can see the magnolia tree is turning. The leaves don't do anything spectacular. They just go brown and wrinkle up and fall off. And there's flowers on the kowhai. And you can see that the wattle is gearing up. It's all those little olive green bits are the buds. And there's the birds singing. Norma Jean, good morning. Here it is. It's lovely to hear the birds. Oh, let me show you the camellia as well. There's our scruffy back door with the ladder that goes onto the roof, which is probably not going to get any more work done this year. The season's turned, and my husband sprained his ankle. Here is the camellia. He's a lot better, by the way. He's recovering way faster than the last time he injured any part of himself, because he's a different man. And I'm a different person, and we're just dealing with it all a lot better. And I've got to show you this because it's so beautiful. If we can just get some sharp focus on it. The camera is being helpful. There you go. Just have to tell it what to look at. It's just beautiful. Advario, it's beautiful to see you. Thank you for joining us this morning. Just doing the wandering around the garden, and you think there's not much to see because it's autumn and everything's shutting down, but there's just little gems, and I enjoy that. So today, surprise, surprise, I want to talk about opening your heart. I want to talk about actually being able to feel elevated emotions, because I mentioned yesterday that, that is not something I could really do for a very long time. And one of you made a comment to say, yeah, I know what that's like, I get it. Bernadette, I remember now. And I thought, let's talk about this process of accessing elevated emotions when you just can't. Because I think it's more, this is more widespread, more normal, more what happens than most people are either aware or willing to admit. Because remember, we are programmed to look outside of ourselves for things to make us feel good, to change the way we are, to distract us from the fact that there's pain inside, which, everybody, being alive, you're going to have some pain. I don't think there's a human being alive that doesn't feel a heartfelt desire for more or for something, I don't think that's a problem. But when you don't recognise the gap inside yourself, and if you do, your only solution is to ignore it and push it down because you don't actually know how to create your own joy, your own love, your own wholeness, you're kind of screwed. So really all you've got to do is this thing of constantly looking for something outside of yourself to change the way you feel. And for some of us, even that doesn't work very well. I can remember being I think in my late teens or 20, probably, my late teens. And window shopping depressed me. I wasn't like many young women or young, teenagers of my age. I wasn't interested in the magazines and boyfriends and fashion and all, and it was just no. I realise now that window shopping depressed me. It made me feel low, because already by then I felt so much lack that I didn't feel free to enjoy myself, to spend money with the idea that there was enough. I already couldn't do it by then. I already was deeply in lack. And you're right, Linda, we shut ourselves down, and I had already shut myself down. I don't know when I shut myself down. I honestly don't know, and it doesn't matter. We go looking for the thing, the event, the whatever it was, the reason why. And it doesn't matter. The point is, I lived most of my life shut down. It was nobody's fault. It certainly wasn't my parents' fault. They loved me. But I understand more and more and more that I not only couldn't receive their love, I wouldn't even ask for it. It's amazing to me, the things I'm understanding as I get really deep into this question of opening your heart. And we shut down for whatever reason. We shut down. Now, this was a thing, and I wrote about this yesterday under Bernadette's comment, but this is what really made me think I'll talk about this, because it was oh, really? When I realised this. In Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Supernatural, there's a chapter about heart coherence. And there's science and there's things to understand. And I just happen, of course, synchronicity winks at me all the time, just happen to be reading that chapter, and I'm actually allowing myself, I'm reading another book as well, just for fun, but there are times when I just go back to that, and I had just finished a very profound meditation. In fact, it was the first time I did this particular one, and it's been blowing my world apart since then, in a wonderful way. And and I was so in such a state of wholeness. Anastasia, it's beautiful to see you. That I couldn't tolerate. I didn't even want to talk. I didn't want to see anything that's on a screen. The only vibration that I was interested in was more of the same, because I'd just done a meditation with Joe and it was profound. So I picked up his book and I opened the book, and there was the page in the chapter about heart coherence, and it was the same page that the last time I read the book, it grabbed me in the way that I'm about to explain to you. And this is the fourth time I'm reading the book. The first two times I did not get this. I had to get through the book, the third time for this particular thing, for me to have enough mental and neurological hardware in place to perceive something new. You see, that's why when you go back to the old book, if you learn something, you're a new person, you have a new brain, you perceive different things. So I was reading this thing, and the sentence that jumped out at me, or actually it didn't jump out at me, it just grabbed me. It was like, what? The sentence that puzzled me, the sentence that confused me, Arlan, it's beautiful to see you, said more or less, might not be the exact words, the heart independently processes emotions. And I thought, what? 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 Because, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it some more, and I observed, and I watched, and I, puzzled, and I read the little bit, and I read it again. Hi, Charlotte! I read it and thought, what? And the conclusion I came to, through my observation and through kind of reading between the lines, because, when you know as much as someone like Joe Dispenza knows, there is a line you have to walk when you're explaining a concept, between explaining the concept and going into too much detail. And the thing was that I'm pretty aware that the question I was asking was one of the details that he'd decided not to include. Otherwise you lose people, in too much detail. So the thing I was asking was, really, can you only feel love in your heart? Can you only feel joy in your heart? Can you only feel compassion in your heart? I thought that feelings were kind of body, visceral, chemical things, which they are. But I didn't understand and I do now, that different emotions actually originate and are generated in different physical locations in the body. That was to me. And what I've come to understand through my own experience is that if my heart is shut down, I cannot experience joy. And, if you think I'm just talking about this intellectually, no, it took me a year working incrementally, loving the process, by the way, not slow. Oh my God, I love this work that I do with Dr. Joe. It took me a year to really have my first experience of genuine, heartfelt joy. And it changed me. And now that, and then there was a period not long after that where everything kind of went dead and turned off. It's like all my old emotions were gone. And that was the only one I could summon because it was the one that I knew so clearly that I could bring it up on command. For no reason. Just because, I know how joy feels now. And it originates in the heart. Julianne, good morning. It originates in the heart. You cannot feel joy if your heart does not open, cannot open. And so you also can't feel abundant and you can't feel safe to receive, although safety actually is a function of the second energy center. Elevated emotions of love and wholeness and freedom and expansion can only be felt when you open your heart. And this is what I'm discovering through my own experience and the recognition of how shut down I've been. It's wow, amazing how quote unquote far I got through life and how much I accomplished and tra-la-la-la-la with a really pretty closed heart, a heart that not able to actually let in love. Te hakarifi, it is great to see you. Kim, Kaya, good morning, gorgeous beings. So that's my experience, right? And now I want to talk about the practice that I've been in many different ways exploring. But, and the Heart Math Institute are all over this. Jocelyn, I've been diving into space-time, time-space meditation, and oh my God, if you haven't done that and you want to get heart-centered, it's powerful. And that I have to go that deep to change these programs because they're so deep in me. They were totally unconscious programs. So now I am able to summon joy. I'm even able to summon love. I'm even able to remember wholeness while I am conscious and in beta. But I couldn't for so long because I didn't understand the entirely unconscious programs that were running, and I had to get really, really deep to recognize them. I just recognized them again this morning. It was like, oh my God. Every time I go that deep into the unified field, I can let more love in now. So, back in beta, back in consciousness, being able to talk and think and interact with the three-dimensional world of the senses, to open my heart, something I am clear about is if I'm stressed, if I'm stuck in a beta state, it's actually something that I've only just realised is that if I put my attention in my heart and I breathe in and out of my heart when I'm stressed, it's actually too much of a convergent focus. I have to open my focus first. If I don't open my focus first, my brain is too incoherent to allow me to get heart-centered. It's amazing. I've just recognised, my brain isn't, my monkey mind is screaming at me. And although I'm focusing on my heart, it's like, rah, rah, rah. So it's really interesting. I'm learning all this stuff as I go along. Leslie, good morning, beautiful. So, however you do it, whether you can just put your attention in your heart and soften into that, and I can do that. Practically what I'm going to suggest, if you've never consciously explored opening your heart, this is how I would suggest you do it. Give your heart a rub. Put your hand over your heart. That helps because it's nurturing, it's calming, and it brings your attention there. And if your arm gets tired after a while, give it a rest, Don't lock yourself in. Tanya, morning, beautiful. Put your attention there And how do I say this? I'm going to go two ways, and we can do both. So one way is just to, as soon as if you're like me and your brain is going will, and focus without just feeling like I'm focusing on my heart. Then put your awareness in the space around your shoulders, around your chest, around your body. Open your focus around yourself into the space around you. But you keep your hand on your heart, so you kind of got a dual focus, one on your heart and one on the space. And opening your focus, and you have to persist, right? Because your brain is screaming at you. Open your focus. And this is the thing that really works for me. Before I even try to summon elevated emotions, is just to breathe in and out of my heart. And the key thing is to lengthen the breath. To have the focus here and the idea of the space around me, and to breathe in and out of my heart, and to make the breath take longer in both directions. Breathe in and hold it a little bit, and breathe out and let it go right out. And then I can build on that, and instead of just breathing in and out of the front of my chest or even the back of my chest, I imagine myself breathing in and from all around me, and then breathing out all around me. And that is a nice way to cheat, to open your focus, right? So I do that, and sooner or later I start to feel that it gets easier to keep my breath longer, and the focus sort of softens, and I can feel the space around me more clearly. So I would sit with the breathing and the hand over your heart, or the awareness in your heart, and feeling the space around you until that gets a little bit easier to hold. If that's all you can practice, and if you can do that for 20 seconds and then it's like, oh my God, I can't do this, that's fantastic that you can do it for 20 seconds, know when you're there and know when you're not. Practice it often, little 20-second increments. Doesn't matter. I had to practice this for most of a year, right? It's okay if it takes a while, if you don't get it, if you struggle, if it's challenging. When that gets a little bit easier, what you can start to do is pick any elevated emotion that you can think of, that you vaguely know how it feels, and start to breathe that in and out of your heart. In the same way as you're just breathing your breath in and out of your heart, the emotion. And if you have no idea what emotion to choose, just go for gratitude. Breathing gratitude in and out of your heart. You can be grateful for the fact that you are breathing, okay? You don't need anything else to be grateful for. And just generating gratitude with your focus on your heart and with an open focus in the space around you, you're breathing your gratitude out around you. That is the very first step. The very first practice is very simple. And it takes me a few minutes. If I've got into a pickle, it takes me a few minutes to do this. But, like 10 minutes, not 2 minutes. If I'm in a pickle, it can take some time. And I have to kind of pull the plug on what I'm doing, which I sometimes can't do, right? But I got to go away. I got to deal with this. And sometimes I can just do it in 2 or 3 breaths. Just bring my awareness back to my heart. It's okay. Depends how scrambled I am. But the point being that if you practice this and you get so you can do it for longer, independent of your circumstances. By the way, I'm doing this independent of my circumstances. It is such a relief to me that with a reasonable effort of will, I can now feel joy regardless of whether I think I've got anything to feel joyful about or not. That to me is freedom, because I'm no longer subject to my circumstances so that I can feel good or otherwise. And it's a constant challenge, because there's stuff coming up for me that says, no, you need to be afraid. You need to focus on this. You need to worry about this endlessly. Like, that's going to help. So this is my moment-to-moment practice sometimes. I'm not standing here talking to you about this from an intellectual point of view. This is what I do. This is what keeps me sane, and this is what helps stuff manifest in my life. But it takes practice. It takes determination. And yeah, when I get really deep in the field, Norma Jean, I do experience the peace beyond understanding. And sometimes, more than sometimes, I come back to my, world of the senses, and I can remember it and I can still feel it. And that gets easier. It really does. And I can summon that memory I carved a neurological pathway and I had a biochemical experience. You better believe it was powerful. I can summon that memory. I can fire it up again. I can feel it again. I'm getting better at it. And that's how it works. I'm reconditioning my body to a new mind. And so to open your heart, it's just the most simple but profound thing you can do. Sharon, morning beautiful. Because when you have practiced that, you can practice pulling different emotions in and out of it. You can open yourself to the love of the universe. You can open yourself to new experiences. I don't know what else to say. But really, the point I want to make today is, if you want to feel elevated emotions, if you want to feel excited about life, if you want to be able to anticipate something with joy, which I couldn't really do either, then the first step to be able to do that is to be able to open your heart. And it takes practice, and it's a skill, and you can do it, and you can learn it. And along the way, you're going to notice that your life changes, step by step, moment by moment, increment by increment. Yeah, and it does become your normal state of consciousness, because you're no longer who you used to be, you're somebody else. Somebody who can open their heart. Somebody who can receive. Oh my God, when you start opening your heart, you're going to notice how much difficulty you have receiving. If lack is a challenge in your life, trust me, you're going to find that you have a challenge with receiving. Because, it's come with pain, or it's come with strings, or whatever it is. So open your heart, you're going to find that. You're going to find that you don't want to ask for love, because there's far too much risk of being hurt. You're going to find all kinds of things when you start to open your heart. And as you do, and you find safety in yourself, it's got nothing to do with anyone or anything else, amazing and crazy as that may seem, then you find the joy, then you find the love, then you find the wholeness. There's no other way to find it. Yourself, it is beautiful to see you. This is who we are. And this is what we have within us. And you can't get it anywhere else. And it begins and ends, oh my goodness, with opening your heart. Big love. Thank you so much for joining with me. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.